Okay, so when you're deciding which one to plug it back into, it doesn't matter. You can choose your favorite one. For me, I like this one because I feel like I have a positive here, and that is usually easier to do. So if it's x equals 2, I have to plug in 2 for x, and now I have to solve this for y. Okay, so we're just going to get y by itself. So if I want to get y by itself, the first thing I'm going to do is subtract 2 from both sides. And then when I do that, I get 4y equals, what's negative 2 minus 2 more? You're down 2 and you take away 2 more. How many are you down? If I added 2, that would be right. If I subtract 2, yep, good. Okay, and then Ryan, what's my last step to get y by itself? Oh, we're right here. So 4y equals negative 4. All right, and then don't forget that you have a negative on top. So whether you're doing that in your head or doing that in your calculator, a negative divided by a positive is going to be a negative. Okay, and then so your final answer is 2, negative 1. Okay, so that's called elimination. Okay, so we're going to be adding equations together, or sometimes we don't add, we have to subtract. Okay, so let's look at part B. So here we had opposites, so we were able to add. Okay, if we look at the numbers in front, see how these are the same number? If they're the same, we're not going to add, we are going to subtract. Now, I'm going to give you a little hint when you subtract. Let's write out the first equation the same. But when you subtract, you are going to have to distribute a negative, so I'm going to show you how you can do that. Now, when you subtract, sometimes you will see this written in parentheses like this. Do you guys remember what you have to do when something's in parentheses? Say it again. Oh yeah, yep, like with your order of operations, yep. And then if you have something that's on the outside, what does that mean if parentheses are behind it? That's right, you're going to have to multiply it. So what happens is you have to distribute the negative to all three. Some of you might be really good at that and can do that part in your head, but since this is the first time we're doing it, I'm going to show you a quick way to do this, okay? So if I distribute the negative, this becomes minus 2x plus 5y and negative 13. So after you write that down, I just want you to notice what happened with all those. What? Yeah, they all flipped their signs, didn't they? So it went from positive to negative, negative to positive, positive to negative. That's exactly what happens. So then what we're going to do is we can just add straight down after you distribute the negative. Okay, so we distribute the negative and then we're going to add. Okay, so I'm going to give you a minute to do that. Okay, and then Joey, will you tell me what you got for your equation here when you added straight down? Nice. Okay, and then these made 0, so if you want, you can just cancel them out. And then you divide by 6. So y is -3. Okay, so now we got the y. You can choose, again, which equation you're going to plug those into. So it does not matter which one. I tried to do the simplest one for me, which I think is the top one. And then all you have to do is plug in your y. So y is -3. So you can put plus -3 or you can put -3. Okay, so if I'm solving that, the first thing I want to do is add over 3. And you can calculate -5 plus 3 to get -2. Divide both sides by 2 to get x is -1. And then remember, when you're writing out your solution, x always goes first, so it's alphabetical. Okay, so for C, let's decide. Can we add or do we have to subtract? Do we have opposites somewhere or do we have the same number? Opposites are the same. Yep, good job. So that means if we have opposites, we can add straight down, okay? So because we're adding them, if you guys want, you can put right next to the problem, let's just do a plus here so we don't have to write as much. Okay, and I'll give you a minute to add straight down and solve that, and then I'll just call on a few of you to help me, okay? Okay, so Ryan, when you added straight down, can you tell me how many y's you got? Okay, so then let's do it together. So if you have y here, remember what number's in front? Yep, and then so you're just going to add 1 to 2. So how many y's would you get there? 3y. Okay, and then if you have 3x minus 3x, those are the ones that cancel. Okay, and then Ryan, what'd you get on this side? You did -2 plus 14. Do you need a calculator, or do you have yours? Okay, so then bring me up something to trade. That. Okay, and then your last step is just to do what? Divide. Great. All right, and then Keith, what'd you get for y? Yep, nice work. Okay, now once you find that, again, you can plug it back into either equation. Okay, if you always want to do what's in the top equation, that's fine. If you always want to decide, okay, I think this one looks easier, that's fine too. And then whether it's y or whether it's x, you just have to find where you're going to substitute it. So this one is y, so I'm going to plug 4 in for y. Everything else stays the same. Okay, and then I'll give you guys a minute to solve for that. How many of you are you're solving for a variable? You always want to move over what's added or subtracted first. And once you've done that, then you can divide. So add or subtract first, then you're going to divide. And then again, when you're writing out your solution, x is always going to go first. Okay, we'll do one more together and then we'll do some groups, okay? All right, so for part D, when you're deciding whether you add or subtract, can anybody tell me what you're looking for in terms of the numbers? I know it's a Monday, it's kind of rough. I need some help. It was rough for me too. Really wanted to stay in bed today. If you're unsure, I did write a few hints up here, right? So when you're deciding whether you add, because like these we added here, but this one we subtracted, I'm wondering if you guys can verbalize what you're looking for with the numbers that tells you whether you add or subtract.
The ones that are the same have that have
Yep.
what two constants in a row and then the same number with the same variable.
That's when you subtract, yes. Okay, so you're really just looking to see, are they opposite? So is one negative or positive? Or are they the same? Like these were both plus, and that's what Joey was talking about here. These are both plus, right? So if that happens where they're both the same, okay, these two are the same, so that means we're going to subtract. Okay? So when you subtract, you really are just going to take this bottom one and multiply by -1. Okay? So the first one, this first one we're going to write the same, and I kind of went into that one, so forgive me for not making them exactly parallel, but we're going to multiply everything by that negative. Okay? So when you subtract, that's when you're going to distribute the negative to all of these. And then once you do that, I like to draw this little arrow. We're going to be doing that more tomorrow. So a negative times a negative is a positive. A negative times a positive is a negative. And then this will be a positive. And if you want, all you have to do is change the signs. So this becomes positive, this becomes negative, this becomes positive. The top stays the same, and now you can just add straight down. Okay, and then Erica, will you help me through this one? So if you add the x's, how many x's do you get? 5. And then the 3y minus 3y, when those are going to be 0, and so if you want, you guys can just put the slash through them to show they cancel. And then one more. What's the 15 plus 5? Great. Okay, and then Gabe, what do I have to do to solve for x? Yes. Divide by 5. All right. And then Bree, can you tell me what to do next once you found x? How to find y? Bless you. Yeah, can you tell me how to find the y once you know what x is? Yeah, plug it back into the equation. Do you have one that you like better than the other, the top one or the bottom? Okay, we'll just do the top then. Okay, so again, you can plug it into either one. So it's 3, we're going to use the top one, 3x plus 3y equals 15. Okay, so 3, and instead of x, you're going to plug in 4. Okay, so if I do 3 times 4, I get 12. And then I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides, so I just have that 3y alone. And then will you guys do the last step for me and write your solution? Make sure you put it in the parentheses. That shows that it's going to be a point. Alright, and then Keith, what'd you get for your y? Yes, great. Okay, so then your final answer, what goes first? 4 or 1? 4. X goes first. Alright, great job.